I am Carla Serber, acting as moderator on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Darke County. I would like to thank you for viewing our candidates forum, which will be available on demand around October 20th at mycountylink.com. Our forum will feature the race for Greenville City School Board members for the term commencing January 1st, 2026. No candidates featured tonight are presently serving as members. The board member's compensation will not exceed $125 per member per meeting, with a maximum of $5,000 per year under Ohio Revised Codes 3313.202. The board is a policy-making board, and members are chief advisors to the superintendent on community attitudes. Board members do not manage the day-to-day operations of the school district and are only responsible for hiring the superintendent and the treasurer. A special thanks goes to all those individuals who took time to write the questions for our candidates, and mycountylink.com for videotaping today's program. The questions were provided by email from the public and were screened by the league members. Due to the large number of questions received with the time allotment, some questions may not be asked. If the candidates will answer briefly, it will allow for more content for voters. Questions will be asked in topical order. The ground rules tonight are: each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an introductory speech and 1 minute for closing remarks. Order of appearance will be alphabetical. The timekeeper will enforce the limit with the following warning cards: 1 minute, 30 seconds, and time. League volunteers, equally divided between Democrats and Republicans, screen the questions submitted by email. Similar questions were grouped together by the screeners. The moderator will then direct the screen questions to the candidates, being sure that the candidates receive questions. Each candidate will be allowed 1 minute answers. 30 seconds rebuttals will also be allowed. Since the league wishes to stimulate dialogue between candidates, any candidates wishing to further comment on an issue raised by a question will be allowed to speak and give a 30-second response. At this time, we will begin with the contested candidates for school board with their introductions, starting in alphabetical order.
Good evening. My name is Diana Banta. I am a graduate of Greenville City Schools. I have been employed in the school system at Arcanum, and I have 28 years of school bus driving. I've also worked within the school, and I've learned a lot of things about sitting in the board minutes at Arcanum and different things, and I think I have a lot of knowledge on that. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chad Bunger. Good evening. As a parent and neighbor and community member, I care deeply about our school and our students. That's why I am running for Greenville City School Board. I want to make sure our students have a safe and supportive learning environment, and our staff have the resources they need, and our families' voices are always heard, and I would be honored to earn your support. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sherry Ellis. I'm a 92 alumni of GHS. I've been working at Advanced Auto Parts for a little over 10 years. I worked my way from part-time driver to assistant manager. I have 5 kids that have been through and are currently going through the Greenville City School System. My daughter was a 2016 grad. My older boys were 2023 grads. They were co-valedictorians, and they now attend Toledo and Findlay universities. My younger boys are freshmen in high school. They run cross country. Connor is a cheerleader, Cooper will be wrestling, and they both do track. First and foremost, I am a parent. I care deeply about my kids and their well-being. I can relate to other parents and their concerns about their children. I care about their academics and how they're doing in school. I believe there's always room for improvement. I've been looking over some of the state report cards, and we only have a couple stars out of 5 in the early literacy and 3 out of 5 in other possible areas, and that tells me that there's definitely room for improvement in our school system. I also believe we need more transparency when it comes to communicating with the public regarding our school system, and our new superintendent, Mrs. Jones, is doing a great job implementing new ideas and making things better for the parents, the children, and the staff. I intend to follow her lead if I get elected, making changes that will positively benefit the Greenville City School System. So hopefully that gives you a little insight into me, my family, and my thoughts for our schools. And I hope to have your vote on November 4th. Thanks.
My name is Ron Kirk, and my wife and I, Julie, are both graduates of Greenville High School as well. We have two boys, Isaac, 16, and Cooper, 14, who both attend Greenville. I've been in Greenville all my life. I've seen a lot of good things, and I've seen some other things. And I really think that it's time that we work on a culture here at Greenville. I believe that having a new superintendent has been a very positive, addition to Greenville. I think that anything that goes on from this point on is only going to go up, and I really want to be part of it. I always said be part of the solution, not part of the problem. I really feel that I really feel that with having an opportunity for me to be elected as a school board member, I like to listen to people, and I talk to a lot of people. And I think that you have to listen first and act later. I really feel that Greenville is a wonderful place to have your kids, to raise your kids, and I really believe that there's untapped possibility here with the community, and I really feel that with Greenville parents and the community, I really feel that there's a lot of good things that can happen. I thank you for being here today, and I hope we can move forward at Greenville.
Mrs. Ripple?
Good evening. My name is Tammy Ripple. I'm a retired teacher from Greenville City Schools with 39 years of experience. I worked in all capacities in our district. During my career, I taught special ed at the high school, 5th and 6th grade. My 3rd year of teaching, I was hired as a 1st grade teacher. For several years, I also worked as a home instruction facilitator for the pregnant girls in the high school and for the kids that had a long extended absence due to their health. I also taught adult basic. I ran the unit at Union City Library and at the county jail for 5 years. As I continued to work 1st grade, I became a cheerleading advisor for the varsity and reserve basketball. I then took a position as a 2nd grade teacher while I trained for a reading recovery position, which I held for 7 years. At that time, I was approached to become a literacy coach. I had already been the grade level chair for several years. I accepted the position. I trained at The Ohio State University for 8 weeks over the year as I continued teaching half-time as a 2nd grade teacher. 4 years later, I was asked to work full-time as a literacy coach. I loved my job teaching children and staff how to teach a child to read. My fellow teachers would kid me about how I could teach a chair to read, they would say. I feel that all children can read, and it's our job to find a way to make every student a proficient reader. My heart is still wanting to help our students to be successful, and that is why I'm running for a school board position. I want to meet the needs of our students and the staff so our scores improve and Greenville City School becomes the place, once again, that every student and family wants to attend. Thank you.
Well, now we're ready for some questions. The first set of questions we're going to talk about are DOE membership. And we're going to start with you, Ms. Ellis. We're randomly going to go around the questions. What is your primary reason for running for the school board, and what do you consider your role to be?
My primary reason is my kids. I want to make the school system better for them and everyone else's kids. I just feel like that, I'm one of those people that when you want me to get something done, I get it done. So I just hope that I can make a positive impact with the school system. So,
Mr. Kirk, would you like to take the next round?
I believe that Greenville, we need to have a winning attitude, and I really believe that I feel like for me personally, I've been involved with coaching kids for a long time. I've always believed that I try to make a positive influence on them. I really feel that Greenville, as a board member, like I said, I work nonstop. I put a lot of time in. I'm not afraid to put the time in, And I also think that I'm also connected very well with a lot of the teachers in-house, and also some of the administration from coaching at Greenville the last 3 years. I think that you have to be able to talk to people in the community as well, because I think they need to be a part of it. So I think I'd be a good liaison between the community and Greenville.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Ripple, would you like to answer the question?
Yes, I have mine just like ABC. A, all about the children. That is what we are here for, is the children. B, I want to better Greenville City Schools. I want our scores to improve. And C, I want to create opportunities for children to be successful as well as our staff.
Ms. Bano, would you like to answer the question?
Yes, I've talked to a lot of parents that come in and buy varsity jackets from me, and they told me some of the stuff that sometimes their kids get bullied and nothing's ever done about it. And I think if we go in and we talk to the students in the school and the teachers and find out what the problems are and try to correct it that way, that we can have the bullying stop maybe, 100% if we have cooperation from everybody.
Mr. Runner?
Yes, thank you. The 3 C's that's been driving this campaign for School Board Run is the children, curriculum, and culture. And I think that being with the PTA of the middle school for the past 3 years and serving 2 of those years as vice president, I got to know our staff more. And by communicating over the summer and through the previous school year of over 111 staff members, listening to their needs and their wants, I think that I can help facilitate that through the channels, the proper way of communicating to the public as well, and being transparent across the board 100% to where that message can be broadcasted out in a positive way, and then our children can be taken care of in a positive way as well.
Well, Mr. Bunger, I'm going to ask you the next question, and you can continue on. What is your prior exposure to and interaction with Greenville City Schools, and have you attended school board meetings, talked with current or past board members, or worked in the classroom, whether paid or unpaid? Just please describe your situation.
Yeah, so my son is, I do have a son in Greenville City Schools. He's an 8th grader. And when he got into middle school, I signed up to be a participant of the PTA. That's my role within the school system currently, is still participating in that. And I think that through that time, I got to know the staff, speak to the staff, and also with doing different activities for the kids, I also got to talk to the children of our school system and go through all that process as well. So that's how I was going through that.
Ms. Ellis?
Well, I'd like to think I'm pretty well known with most of the schools, the staff, and the kids. My kids are into just about everything. So years ago, I was a sub on one of the bus routes as an aide. I have friends that are teachers. I talk to everybody. I'm just pretty much out there, and whenever anybody needs to ask a question, I'm always around. I've been to school board meetings, sat in and listened. Just observing and listening to people. I feel like I can do that pretty well.
Mr. Kerr?
I've been to school board meetings. I've coached football the last 3 years. I've also volunteered basketball as a volunteer basketball coach. I've been to school board meetings. I think it's important we go to school board meetings to understand the process if this is what we want to do. So I really think that going to school board meetings is a huge part of this process. Also, sitting through IEP meetings. Both my boys sitting through IEP meetings. I've worked with different administrators. I've worked with different people. Again, being from Greenville, a lot of people are a lot of teachers, local people. I've been very lucky to have access to a lot of different people in athletics and in education.
Ms. Ripple, would you like to answer the question?
Sure. I have attended board meetings as a teacher, and this summer I have attended a few board meetings as a future candidate for the school board. I actually have already volunteered this year back at school. The first couple days I went in to help the kids in kindergarten find their classrooms, because that's always a hard chore for them. I also went in and helped do some testing for the to help the teachers so they could actually teach and I could do the testing for them. So I've already done that, and I plan on continuing to volunteer. I also talked to Mrs. Stump, I've talked to Mr. Summer as ex-board members, and Krista as a current one. I know what the job is, and they have both given me great information about what they think I need to do when I get on.
Ms. Banda?
Okay. Jim Summer is a cousin of mine. I've talked to him several times over the years, about what the Board of Education does and what their responsibilities are. And he's informed me, that different things that they do and the things they can't do. And I have attended most of the stuff at Greenville as far as field trips and stuff like that. I've been to track and football games and different things. And I've got to know quite a few teachers since they come in and buy things from me. So it makes it easier, for me to know what's going on in the school system. And I do plan to go in and talk to, the kids and everything, get to know them a little bit better.
The next question, and I'm going to, Ms. Ripple, we're going to start with you this time. What are your thoughts on the educational performance of the district, assuming needs improvement? How will you lead for improvement and accountability?
Well, I first think that we need to look at our budget and make sure we have enough support for the children as well as the teachers. I feel I have seen many places where we could have used an extra hand, and so I feel that will really help our grade card and our scores when we meet all the children's needs. Some of the children have needs that are very great, and we need, because we are their only hope for some children to become successful. So I want to make sure that we are helping every student.
Ms. Banner? I'm sorry. Ms. Banner, would you like to answer the question?
I think keeping accountability is prime because if you don't do that, sometimes the money gets away that should not be paid to a certain place, and then you have to account for it. But I think if you keep it straight and keep it accountable, the money should be spent wisely with each team, in each classroom or whatever. So,
Mr. Brunner?
Yes, ma'am. I think by being transparent and keeping open lines of communication across the board, and actually communicating with our staff of what needs to be done and what needs they have and the resources they need can trickle down to where it can be done in an appropriate way.
Ms. Ellis?
I think we just need to make sure that the teachers have the tools that they need, whether it be extra staff support, more intervention specialists. I know we have a lot of IEPs in the Greenville City schools on all levels of learning. So I just feel like as long as we can, again, keep the lines of communication open between the parents and the teachers and the staff, I think that will just greatly benefit everybody in the long run.
Mr. Kirk?
I think that I agree with what Mrs. Riffle and what Ms. Ellis said about needing more teachers, more people helping. I think that a lot of the teachers we have now are overwhelmed, and with the needs of kids these days, I think that they definitely need more help, and that would be into funding. I know everyone doesn't like to talk about raising staff numbers, this and that, but I really think that for our kids to get the best of what they can get, they need more. The teachers need more help. And that goes into morale as well. I think for a while, I think a lot of our teaching staff, the people I've talked to, have had issues with poor morale. And I think really you need to open up the lines of communication, like Mr. Bunger said, and really be able to talk with these teachers and these administrators and say, hey, what's the problem here? And it's not our job to make that decision, but it's also our job to work with the superintendent to be able to do that, to be able to make it better for the teachers because they're with the kids every day.
Mr. Boner, I'm going to start with you on the next question. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing our school district right now, and how do you plan to address it?
I think it goes back to the 3 C's that's been driving my campaign. I don't think there's just one biggest. I think there's 3 of the children, the curriculum, and the culture. And I think the best way to solve those is transparency across the board. I think working with our new superintendent and striving on what we have now currently that's positive and running would be a big thing. For me, number one would be the curriculum. We need to support the educators with consistent training and professional development to adapt and grow with the times of changing. And I think that if we get the curriculum continue in a positive way, then everything else will trickle down in a positive way as well.
Ms. Vander, would you like to answer that?
I think the curriculum does need to be upgraded. I think we do need more teachers and more, maybe some volunteers at times, to come in and help with the students, if they are falling back or something, and helping them as far as getting their IEPs completed and everything. Money is going to be tight, I think, sometimes, but I think we can make it through it, and I think if we use the money wisely, everything should come out okay, and the kids should be able to make their goals.
Ms. Riffle?
Yes, well, I agree with Mr. Bonger, and I do believe we do need more help. I know that I coordinated a lot of volunteers, and I brought a lot of people in to work with students, because kids do need someone to listen to them read and someone to support them in learning their words. But I really do believe one of our biggest problems is our children's mental health. We do need experts in the building every day to help our students deal with their lives.
Mr. Kerr?
I agree with Mr. Bunger as well in the transparency of it all. I think that Greenville's had a culture. I think you need to bring back a winning culture to Greenville. I think that starts in the classroom and then that trickle down everywhere else. Also, I think the curriculum, you can't have 6 different math curriculums throughout the school district. I think that working with the superintendent, I think it's important that we streamline a lot of these things. I think it's very important that our kids know what they're doing from one year to the next. I think when you jump curriculums, I think it causes confusion. Also, I agree with the mental health of what Mrs. Riffle said. I think that having our principals, our administrators, our teachers, they're not trained to be mental health experts. And with as many kids as we have on certain drugs and this and that, they don't know how to deal with those issues. I think it's really important that we deal with the mental health, and I think that's going to be a way to move forward and move our kids forward.
Ms. Ellis?
I think we need to, again, the transparency word is a very good word. We need to get the community back involved in our school system. Whether they have kids in the school, whether they don't, whether they have grandkids, kids, whatever. I think we just need to get everyone backing the school again. There's been so many times where they're not on board with the school board, they're not on board with the teachers, or there's just bad feelings or whatever. I think we need to try to turn this around and get our community back involved in our schools. Getting more teachers hired, more counselors, get everyone on the same page working towards the same goal. Would be a great start for facing these bigger challenges that are going to be coming down the road. So,
Well, we're going to change gears a little bit and go to budgets, administration, and curriculum. That's going to be a combined topic. And I'm hopeful that you're aware of some of the things that are going on as far as abolishment of real estate taxes and some things that are coming on the ballot. And we will start with Ms. Riffle. What 3 programs would you plan to cut in order of importance if the present real estate tax is abolished?
What, free programs?
3,
Or just what?
as
3?
in the number 3.
Okay.
And remember,
Okay,
these questions come from the public. These are not our questions.
That'll be a little hard one there. What would I cut from the budget? Well, I want to add 3 more. I don't want to cut anything. Gosh, I'm kind of drawing a blank. I just can't imagine cutting anything from the budget, because we need everybody and we need additional. So I think we find other ways to change where the money's going, and we continue on. I just can't imagine losing staff. And everybody's important. Everybody plays a very important role in the kids' lives. So I'm just going to have to trust that the treasurer and we can work all together and we can re-establish the budget for different things.
Mr. Kerr?
Well, I think that, I have to agree with Mrs. Riffle. I think that our kids come first. I'm not gonna, I'd really like to say that there'd be this, and this that we cut. But I think that we have to be fiscally responsible. And I think that if we have to cut programs, I think that would be something that we'd have to do on the fly. I think that, I really feel that the way the previous administration left the school district, I don't think it's as bad off right now. I think with state cuts and this and that, and maybe loss of students, we might have to worry about more of a fiscal, worry about the budget a little bit more and our income. But right now, I think that if we concentrate on 3 programs, I have to agree with Mrs. Riffle that I think we need to keep things rolling the way they are and do it on the fly. You know, that's how I look at it. We not do it on the fly, but do it as needed.
Ms. Ellis?
I guess we would just have to be creative. Again, I really just don't think cuts to the school system are going to be the answer, like cutting programs or anything like that, because some of these kids need these programs because that's their only outlet from, a home life that maybe is not that great. Same thing, with sports. I don't think we should cut anything with sports. I just think, like he said, I think that we're going to have to cross that bridge when we get to it. Maybe get creative. Let's find some money. Let's find some grants. Let's start applying for everything and anything that we can to not have to make any cuts. There are plenty of opportunities out there that maybe we have not yet even tapped into that we could, and go that route instead of trying to just cut stuff right off the bat.
Mr. Boner?
I think trying to be transparent, working with the treasurer and working with the superintendent and figuring out where we can pull some money from different areas. I agree with the panel so far of not cutting anything. If I had to choose 3, I wouldn't cut any. I think transportation is important. I think our IEPs are important. I think our teachers are important, the resources they need, the equipment they need for sports. I think all of that is very important for the children, maintaining a safe and healthy learning environment for our kids. I think that we can try to figure out ways of how we can try to pull some things around. Kind of like what Mr. Kirk said, we got to see how it goes as we go, as long as with Ms. Ellis. And when we get into that process, we got to try to figure out where we can go. By working with the treasurer and superintendent, we can figure that out.
Ms. Bannock?
Okay, I know that the money's going to be tight, and there's going to be some problems with maybe moving money around, from one place to another. But there may be, one thing that we can do is try and buy the best stuff at the best price and find it, at a decent cost, and cut back, a little bit maybe on some of the things we really don't need. That way that money can be allocated toward getting a teacher in or getting a professional in and helping a kid, one way or another. But we need to really be strong and find out, what we're going to get from the state. And if it cuts back any more, we just need to hold on to our money and spend the best we can.
Okay, this is a new topic. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Kerr. Do you think bullying in the schools is a current issue in Greenville schools? And if so, how would you suggest it be addressed?
Well, I think bullying, personally for me, my belief is I think bullying I believe it can be a problem in Greenville schools. I don't think it necessarily is. It's case by case. I think as a parent, I know I've taught my boys how to deal with adversity, how to deal with people picking on you, how to do these certain things. I think that as a school system, I know it happens. I know it happens, and there's other kids. Luckily, luckily I know from firsthand experience that there's a lot of great people at Greenville that help with that and that really keep it at bay. They want to work through the problems. I'm sure there's individual issues that have happened that I can't speak for, but I know the staff at the middle school the best, and I would say that I'm sure they take care of whatever they have to take care of to help get the child through the day.
Thank you. Ms. Riffle, would you like to answer that question?
Sure. Well, I know that from being there every day in, the past 39 years, it is a very serious topic, and we take it very seriously. When kids report that, then the principals are right on seeing where this problem is, or the bus drivers, or even other teachers, and having teachers talk with the kids. There's many programs that we already have in our buildings that deal with bullying, and we've had, the counselors do little sessions, and in fact, our elementary counselor will do small groups when they have kids that tend to be more aggressive and mean to other students by the bullying. They create small groups, and they meet with these kids, and it's an ongoing training that we are providing for the, and it is something that we do take seriously.
Ms. Banna?
As far as bullying, believe me, I know what that word is. I drive a school bus. I have 48 kids on my bus. I have some problem childs on that bus. Bullying can be cured if you take the kids aside, which I have done, and talk to them and imply the rules, that if you don't follow my rules, you will be off the bus. I think every bus driver needs to do that, and even in the schools, take the kids aside and find out what the problem is that they think they have to bully other students, and work with that child for a little bit and just make him see that, he has to be better. He has to show people that, he is going to get their respect one way or another.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes, sir. I think that when it comes to bullying, we need to go back to the parents. My opinion is it starts at the home. So, and I think that if we can communicate that to the parents as well, that we want a safe and healthy living environment at the school while the students are there, then that's going to trickle down. We can kind of get back to that. Also, we need to, if there is bullying, we need to do it by case, and also invest in the teachers for proper training, along with our administrators through that process as well, and work through counselors, and then also work with the kids and figure out what's going on and where this is coming from.
Okay, Ms. Ripple, we're going to have the next question directed to you. Should prayer be permitted in classrooms and at sporting or other school events?
Oh, wow, you're asking a very religious person that question. No, I don't think prayer should be allowed, but I do believe that kids do talk about God in the classroom. People talk about going to church and going to, Sunday school, and I don't think that it's something that you squish by any means. Kids are allowed to talk about that, and sometimes I would even say, praise the Lord, we got this done. But I don't think that we should actually have a prayer at school. I do believe we should continue to say the pledge every day, but it's just, I don't know. That would be a very tricky thing. But again, I would not squish his child if they were talking about God.
Ms. Banna?
I think stick with the pledge, and if a child does want to, talk religion, then I would take him aside and say, I don't think this is appropriate for this, classroom. If you want to take it after class is over with or after school is over with, that's fine. But I don't think they need to have prayer in school. I mean, we have a Catholic school that, does this stuff. The public school, I don't think it's really necessary in a public school.
Mr. Beaumont?
I think that we need, as a community, more faith every day. And I think that we need, it should be okay to profess that you are a believing Christian and that you are okay with prayer. I think that if a child wants to pray in school or pray before they eat lunch, they should have that right to pray in school.
Ms. Ellis?
I don't necessarily think that we should have prayer in school. I think, like he said, I think if a child wants to pray before they eat lunch, they should be allowed to do that. I just don't think it should be like a forced prayer in school. I mean, if a child wants to pray, that should be their right. They should be able to do that. I am all about bringing back the Pledge of Allegiance every morning, in our first period classes, all about that. We did that when we were in school, and I don't think it hurt any of us to say it. But as far as the prayer goes, I mean, that's just a slippery slope right there, because, you know, some kids are non-believers and neither are their parents, and some kids are all about it and go to school, or go to, you know, Sunday school and all that every day. It's just a fine line in between. But I do not feel that, I mean, the kids should be outcasted or punished because they want to do a prayer. I don't feel that. So it's kind of a happy medium you have to find.
Mr. Kirk?
In God we trust. I mean, everything about this nation's been about God. You know, it started because of separation. You know, it started, you know, I guess the way I feel about it is, you know, prayer, there's a lot of great things in the power of prayer. You know, I think that with the way that some of these kids, the home lives these kids come from, if prayer is the worst thing you're going to do to these kids, then I'm sorry, then you're kind of disconnected. I think prayer is a wonderful thing. I think that you know, I'd be all in for whatever would make these kids some of these lives better. Like I said, I pray every day. I believe that you have to find the positive, and I always believe that God and Jesus was putting the positive in my life.
Well, I'm going to ask you another question.
Okay.
What is your stance on banning books?
Well, that's a great question, because I feel that the way technology is right now is that, you know, school systems are always looking for ways to make things more economical. I think that it's very important. I guess that's a little general of a question now that I think about it, because if you say banning books, are we talking about educational, are we talking about textbooks, or are we talking about books in general? Because I would say that if you're talking about I'm talking about textbooks, that because a lot of this technology is already, you know, a lot of classes don't have textbooks now anyways. But if you're talking about books in general, I think it's very important for kids to read, to get off those computer screens. I think it's important to read books. I wish I would have read more when I was younger. I don't read enough now, but I would think that I don't really like the idea of banning books. But I think in curriculums and this and that, if it makes more sense to do it on a laptop or iPad, then yes. But books in general, no.
Ms. Ellis?
I am against banning books. I think that it's good for some kids to have their nose in a book. Just like the summer reading programs, they actually have to read a book, and they're required to get the book and actually read it. I think that is a good thing. Again, getting them off the screen, like, you know, and some kids, if you put the book in their hand where they can flip the pages, I mean, that might keep them more engaged. If you're having them read a book like in class, or as opposed to just reading it on a screen, you know, I don't know. I know that we've done away with a lot of textbooks because of the technology, but I really don't think that banning books is a very good idea.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes. I think one thing we lack as a society is communication. And I think by banning books, you're taking that more away. You're taking more of the impersonable communication away with students. Now, if it's some of the curriculum and it's easier to change the workload for the teachers so they don't get burnt out as much with changing it from a book to a tablet or an iPad, that would be okay in some areas. But I think just the interactions that students have by sitting around a table and reading a book and communicating back and forwards, I think that should be very important and should be staying as it is. And I think that through the process of reading the books, they also pick up on more communication skills. And then with the lack of the early literacy that we have with our school, we can kind of build that up more by reading and doing group settings and getting the books instead of the tablets. And then plus with the mental time on the screen, what it does to your eyes, and then you're looking down like that, it's just a distraction in my opinion.
Ms. Banda?
I do not agree with banning books. Kids need to be able to hold a book and look at it and read it, page to page. And I think it gives them a sense of, I accomplished reading this book, I finished it, I understand what's in it now, versus just looking at a laptop and reading something on it. I think the books give the kids more of a successful thing that they've done and they reached a goal, and I still think that banning books is a bad thing.
Ms. Riffle?
That's a really good question. I'm all about reading, and I actually said to our new superintendent, if the book room was going to be dismantled, I would lay in the door to create people going in that room to get rid of those books. I love books. I help create all the book rooms in our schools. And I want children to read. I want children to become lifetime learners and readers. And that is the goal of education, is to instill the love of reading in the children. Now, if the content is inappropriate, then absolutely get it out of the schools. But that, again, has to be done by people actually reading what's in our book rooms. And I can tell you, I know every book that's on our shelves in those book rooms, and we would never put anything inappropriate in the book rooms. So, yes, we need book rooms. Yes, we need kids reading. And yes, we need to have guided reading groups every day in our classrooms to meet the needs of all the children.
Okay, Ms. Banda, I'm going to start with you next. Which is the most important financial priority, sports or education and arts, and why do you feel that way?
Education and arts. If you don't have the education, when you graduate, how are you going to make it in a job? Education gives you the background in which to have a job and choose the job you want. The arts gives you a pathway on expressing yourself if you have to have art in your workplace. People just don't realize that education is prime, and if you get your education the right way, you're going to succeed in your job.
Mr. Rodner?
I would say education and sports together, because with education, you bring up the curriculum, so you strive on that, you get the grades up, you get the confidence up inside of the grades, and then with the sports, it helps bring, you're not just, when I was helping with coaching, I would tell the boys, I'm not just here for winning, I'm here to make you better men in society, better women in society for the girls. It teams up together. You get a higher chance of learning in the classroom, and then you trickle that down to being in sports. You get the camaraderie of your team together. You get to build on building your character up. So I think they both can go together when it comes to education and the sports.
Ms. Ellis?
Okay, financial priority. Education should always be first and foremost. And the arts, I mean, each kid expresses themselves in a different way. With sports, it helps their education because they have to have their grades up in order to be able to play sports. So those kind of go hand in hand. And the arts, some kids are so artistic, and that helps their education also. They all kind of go hand in hand. I mean, you have to play to the kids' strengths. And if sports is their strength, education should be right there with it, because they're going to need that education in order to be able to play that sport. So they all kind of go hand in hand.
Mr. Curd?
One thing we talk about is student athletes. You're not an athlete without being a student. So I would definitely say that education trumps sports, but I will say that sports are a very integral part of any kind of school district, because you build confidence in sports, you build teamwork, like Miss Ellis and Mr. Bunger both said. There's a lot of great things that come out of sports, but to play those sports, you need to be a good student first. I think that the education is going to last you much longer. Education is power, and I think that if you cannot, you really can't, you have to put education first. I mean, that's what it comes to first. And I'm the biggest sports guy in the room, and I believe that education has to be first. And once those kids start winning in the classroom or even on the field, it's all tied together, like Mr. Bunger said. So I think it's education, definitely, education and arts.
Ms. Riffle?
Carla, would you repeat that question, please?
Which is the most important financial priority, sports or education and arts, and why?
Education is the most important, far most important, because as a child and as an adult going to be successful in our society, you have to be educated. And I know, I'm teaching adult basic at the jail. I had people, it was sad because they couldn't even count without using their fingers because they lacked the education to read, and it broke my heart. And then we wonder why they can't find a decent job or why they are having problems in life. We have to provide what's needed for these children, and education has to come first. I'm not saying the other things are not important, because yes, as they've all said, sports do create for children rules and how to become team members, and teaches them responsibilities. And the arts, of course, as Sherry said, it's important for children to be able to express themselves. So I just think that we have to keep it in order, and we have to make the education our first priority.
Okay, Ms. Ellis, I'm going to ask you the next question. In your opinion, have past and present inappropriate relationships between staff and students been dealt with in a correct manner?
Well, our superintendent got dumped on one of those right off the bat, didn't she? I feel that they take it very seriously. I feel that just this recent one, it was handled with urgency. I feel like everything was handled the way it should have been. It moved quickly. It's really hard to deal with that kind of stuff. But I do believe that, our school system takes it seriously, that the consequences and the repercussions are dealt with appropriately. I feel like our superintendent did a great job. That was like one of her first big things that she had to deal with, and I thought she handled it very well. So I believe that moving forward in the future, things will be handled very well also.
Mr. Kerr.
I have to agree with Ms. Ellis. I think that anything that's happened in the past, I can't say for a fact that I can recall anything like the recent situation. I think that I believe that Mrs. Jones did a great job in reacting to what happened. She's in charge of the schools, and I think that the way it was taken care of was well done.
Ms. Ripple.
I believe that our situations are handled correctly. There is no, I can't think you can write a rule down to say if this happens, because there are circumstances within whatever transpires with the student. So, but I do believe that we do take care of the problems, and we do help our students and try to provide for what's needed and necessary. And Julie did a wonderful job with what she's had to deal with so far.
Ms. Bannock?
I think Julie did a fine job. Years ago, though, the Greenville Royal Act and how they did take care of things like that. I was a part of it. I saw something I wasn't supposed to, and things did not happen like they should have. I think Greenville has come a long way in taking care of these situations and making them right and doing the fine job they're doing.
Mr. Bonner?
Yes, I think Ms. Jones did a great job with handling the incident that did happen. And I think that moving forward, we need to make sure that we keep communication across the board with our staff and with our students and with the public. But I think the way that she handled it was great. I can't speak of any past experiences with the previous groups, but Ms. Jones did a great job with how she handled it.
Well, I think we are at the point where we need to have some closing remarks from each one of you, and we'll start alphabetically. If you, Ms. Bannock, I'm going to put you on the spot again if you'd like to give your closing remarks.
I think Greenville Schools has come a long way in doing a lot of things for the kids. I think we need to keep doing more for the kids every day and trying to get as many graduated as we can. As far as transportation, yes, there is problems with the transportation as far as some students on the buses and stuff, and I think that needs to be cleared up quite a bit. I think if we can get more professional and even volunteer people in the schools to help the kids that are falling behind a little bit, I think that would do great wonders for Greenville schools.
Mr. Bowner.
Yeah, thank you. I love Greenville City Schools. I love our teachers. I think our kids are great. And I think that we need to, like what Mr. Kirk said, have that winning mentality. And I think that we can achieve that. And I think that if we continue to work with Ms. Jones so far since she's taken office, superintendent, she's done a great job. And I think by working with her, we can get there and we can continue to strive and we can foster a new culture of meaningful, trusting relationships among leadership and staff and students and build our families together and get back to where we can be seen as great and continue to strive towards what's important in our education system.
Ms. Ellis.
I think that we can make Greenville City Schools great again. We're headed in the right direction. I mean, our superintendent, she's great. She's got lots of great ideas, and she's trying to move us forward. Our football team, new morale. I mean, I think everything's going in the right direction there. I think our teachers and everybody understand what the goal is. And I think we all just have to work together and come together as a community, and I think we can make that happen.
Mr. Kirk.
I believe that, like this word's been said a lot, transparency. We need to stay transparent with everything. I think a problem with Greenville, we've had a vacuum of leadership. We've had a lack of leadership at Greenville, and I think that with the new superintendent and a new culture being started, I think that we can move forward and really take the kids where they need to go. I think you need to support those teachers in the classroom. You need to support the administration. They're the ones hands-on every day. We can sit here all day and talk about what we need to do. They're the ones that know what needs to be done. And I think that moving forward, Greenville's going to be is going to improve. I think it already has. The process has already started. And I look forward to either in this way or this avenue or in others to help support Greenville.
Ms. Ripple.
Okay, I am the candidate that has the education experience. I'm aware of our educational structure that needs to occur in each building. I succeeded and continue in operating a very lucrative Camper Chef business. As a literacy coach, I was able to provide professional development to help our students and our teachers. I want to continue that as a board member. The children are our future. The majority of our students love coming to school to learn and to feel secure and loved. Let's continue to provide them with a solid foundation to build a successful life. Remember to vote for me on November 4th, and we'll make Greenville City Schools great again.
Well, I want to thank all of you. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Darke County, I want to thank the candidates for participating in this forum and the public for taking the time to educate themselves. Remember that this broadcast will be available on demand at mycountylink.com starting around October 20th. The League's voter services activities are designed to provide citizens with unbiased, factual information that can be used as a basis for understanding the election process and reaching their own voting decisions. The League's purpose in sponsoring this candidates forum is to stimulate diplomatic, informative dialogue between candidates and the voter. The remaining early in-person voting hours will be shown here at the end of the tape, located at the Board of Elections, 300 Garst Avenue in Greenville, Ohio, or you can go to their website. Have a great week and make sure to assert your constitutional right to vote on Tuesday, November 4th.